The educational initiative called Acceleration in Context offers a promising response to California's crisis in basic skills education. Before we sketch the contours of the initiative, let us first put it in historical perspective by traveling 40 years back into California's educational history. From the 1960s into the 70s, the education given to California students was widely considered to be the best in the nation. California had the highest per-pupil spending rate in the United States. The state boasted the largest percentage of high school graduates. California had the highest rate of out-of-state students coming to its colleges, and families even moved to California simply for the educational opportunities. From grade school to high school to community college to the four-year colleges, California education was the envy of the nation. But by the late 1970s, a combination of court rulings and voter initiatives, primarily Proposition 13, began to fundamentally alter education in California. And over the next 30 years, as a result of these factors and others, including an attenuated response to demographic shifts and worsening economic and social conditions in urban and rural settings, California began a long, slow slide to the bottom. By 1988, California had fallen below the national average on educational spending and never recovered. By the turn of the century, the state ranked near the bottom in almost all educational indicators. California's high school dropout rate of 32% was one of the highest in the nation. California ranked 44th among states on mathematics achievement and 48th on reading achievement. California ranked 49th in per-pupil spending, 49th in teacher-to-student ratios, 49th in percent of students at grade level. Mississippi most often shows up with us near or at the bottom, but California's educational misery does not love Mississippi's company. One place over the last 30 years where all these statistics played out was on the doorstep of California's 112 community colleges. More students appeared to be showing up unprepared and lacking many core skills. Many strategies were employed to address this. One primary strategy was to create pre-transfer courses in the disciplines of math and English when it was felt that students couldn't meet the standards of a transfer course. This happened all through the system. In 1960, there were very few pre-transfer courses offered in the California community college system. But as the decades passed, colleges offered more and more levels and sections of pre-transfer courses in both math and English. By 2008, every community college in the state had created a whole web of pre-transfer courses and instructional support services, with the total number of pre-transfer courses reaching into the thousands and the number of sections in the tens of thousands. And as many as 80% of the students arriving to community college were testing into these courses. One unforeseen consequence of all these courses is something Thomas Bailey has called the pipeline problem. Researchers from around the country have uncovered the same phenomenon. The more layers of courses students have to take before reaching transfer-level courses, the fewer students who ever make it to transfer-level courses. And this fact also impacts how long it takes for students to transfer to four-year schools. For most students, gone are the days of transferring within 1 or 2 years. Students spend 3, 4, 5, even 6 years at community colleges before transferring. If they make it at all, dropout rates average more than 40%. And students aren't the only ones paying the price. California taxpayers allocate over $600 million per year to pay for all these pre-transfer basic skills courses. Nationwide, the figure is $2.5 billion. Not only a great deal of money, but a great deal of effort goes into developing each one of these courses. For a course to be created, meetings are held and committees chosen. Course outlines are drafted and then redrafted. Catalog description, prerequisite skills, expected outcomes, course content, methods of presentation, sample assignments, methods of evaluating student progress, typical textbooks, special student materials. And then questions need answers. Does the course increase faculty hiring, change faculty loads, establish new or alter old prerequisites, articulate with UC and CSU? Then all of this must pass through the curriculum committee. Community colleges create 50, 60, 70-page documents detailing how to create a course and get it through the committee. Other parts of this house of cards include the schedule of classes, the college catalog, union contracts that mandate teachers must teach to the course, program review, SLOs, and finally, the teacher's course syllabus. Schools should create courses. What could be the problem with that? Well, when the institutional machine takes over, all of this effort can by itself serve to validate the sanctity of the course, both because it finally got done and because people don't want to do it again. The course will refuse to budge, whether it is well designed or not, whether its assumptions make any sense or not. The result is a kind of ossification. Courses that are 10, 15, or even 20 years old are found all around the state. And what is worse is when curriculum development is linked to some perceived deficit in basic skills students. A reductive one-to-one correspondence results. Students cannot do X, so we need a course that teaches X in order to fill that hole, to address that deficit. It may seem reasonable enough to make course material more manageable for basic skills students when we layer a simplifying veneer over the real content. But in so doing, we risk creating a distracting science, for example, the science of reading, that blocks the student from experiencing a subject's true relevance and beauty. In the case of English, grammar books sprung up that were often impossible for students to decode. All manner of reading techniques were foisted on students. Timed reading, SQR3, skimming and scanning, even speed reading. All of this may have its place, especially if integrated into the service of larger meaning, but too often it really is just skill and drill in isolation. The result is that students feel curricularized to death. When students still don't get it, a common remedy is to make it still easier to get by segmenting the knowledge even further. More new courses, more layers before transfer are added. The sheer number and variety of layers across the state may itself be an argument for the fruitlessness of such an approach. The result is an accretion of courses, courses added to courses, added to courses, all to patch perceived holes in the student. Thus, in the classroom, the course itself becomes king. An allegiance to it is expected. The lesson must be covered, the syllabus adhered to, the textbook finished. They need to know this content. We must get through that material. Many teachers defend this situation. As Vincent Tinto reports, faculty members often say to him, "My job is to teach, the student's job is to learn." But whether or not that has occurred is judged primarily by one standard. Did the student pass the course? However, under this standard, if the student fails the course, only the student is implicated. The teacher and the course itself are left unsullied. Rarely is it said that the student failed the teacher, or that the teacher failed the student. And never is it said that the course failed the teacher, or the course failed the student. For faculty who find themselves caught in this curriculum trap, there are two general responses. One, a teacher can simply teach the course, cover the material, perhaps at first feeling frustrated and perhaps later training herself to abide by the curriculum. Two, a teacher can try to work around the department's curriculum, take the best of it, ignore the rest, and add one's own flavor. Students may benefit, but it can leave the teacher isolated and potentially at risk professionally. Neither of these two approaches truly serves students, and neither honors the capacity and creativity of teachers. Nor is the integrity of teachers honored when they are not given permission or space to design curriculum and pedagogy in response to the realities they see in the classroom. What we design ends up designing us. Our educational system cannot truly be said to have been consciously designed. Thousands of individual choices made over the last 50 years by educators all over the state situate us where we are today. But it still has the effect of designing us, of circumscribing our choices, if we accept the limits of the current paradigm. The aim of Acceleration in Context is to help teachers take back design by creating a positive, creative, and analytical space for revisiting assumptions. Assumptions about students, adult learning, and how literacy and numeracy skills are acquired and transferred.
The support, the validation of every single thing you have to say.
I'm coming away with lots of good ideas, short-term and longer-term ones. I'm feeling more invigorated.
It's amazing. I've never been in a project before in which everybody sees value in everything, every single aspect of what you're doing.
We can build a space that invites in student voices so their perspectives about the curriculum they wrestle with are heard.
There's no reason why a teacher should go into a classroom ready with some criteria that they got from somewhere else, because every class is different, you know what I'm saying?
Some teachers have told me to write as if I had a little voice guiding me in my head, and then when I do just that, they tell me that it's wrong. They tell me that it sounds improper.
It was just, like I said, intimidating. I was kind of like, man, am I really going to do this class? This is an 8-week class, and it's really fast-paced.
The point is not being a class being hard or easy, but the way it is taught, like, is it boring for us, or it's entertaining or fun? Is it challenging you?
We can leverage our students' resounding capacity to do far more than what is so often asked of them in the community college classroom.
I knew this was an accelerated class, but I didn't know that it was going to be this challenging, but at the same time, fun.
In my whole life since I've been in school, these are the two books that I could say, I carry them with me. I take them to work, on my break, at lunch, I'm reading them, First time in my life I ever read a book, these two books for the first time.
I didn't think I could get like 6 or 7 pages out. But once you went through my papers and was helping me out and telling me what needed to be done and what I could add to it, then I ended up with the 10-page papers. So now I know I'm able to do this.
We can help the teacher to infuse her daily curriculum with the passion and love she has for her discipline.
Passion for learning is a bird in a cage that soars to wide horizons unseen.
I cannot get my students to expose themselves to me the way that I need them to if I can't do it myself.
The task as a teacher, learner then becomes to create a space that invites and welcomes all the dimensions of our being into the room.
I am committed to love my students by getting to know them as a real person as they grow.
We can design courses that draw directly from this source.
That first experience that they have with us is so critical, which means that affects everything we do. Our mind can help us reframe things.
Basically, I was looking to see if, I think all of us to see if sustainability could be a way to teach basic skills in a more relevant way and more enticing way to students.
And see them as builders, thinkers, and leaders of our universe.
We can, with courage, take back learning. We can dramatically rethink and redesign curriculum and pedagogy across the disciplines.
We need to get to the place where we realize, oh my goodness, it's not their problem and it's not the student's problem.
A lot of people came in with no confidence, been a failure for so many years, tried, fell, and when you came in here, that wasn't an option.
They have the power to be who they are, to have the struggles and the challenges that they have, to have the strengths that they have, and to bring all of that to their learning.
Develop educational ecosystems that foster deep learning and that teach to the whole student.
Kind of at the end, I said it's not in any single person. Motivation is kind of spread out through the community involved in the learning.
I mean, things are happening, things that you gotta care about and you gotta try to fix. Especially, if you have kids, you want a better earth and a better life for them.
When you told me the other day, like, you can do better in another essay, that made me feel like I could do better in my life. You basically made a revelation in my life.
Everybody has their own ideas and background or whatever, and the only way we can, respect each other is trying to find that love that we have for ourselves and humanity.
Develop models of acceleration that move students more quickly to transfer without sacrificing educational quality.
When we give students an intellectually engaging situation, critically complex readings, they will rise to the occasion.
If one student is further ahead, the other student's going to be like, okay, why am I not doing what he's doing? So he has to go and ask them. They're actually developing a faster relationship with each other. They're actually learning faster.
We can work with our institutions to engage in innovation, networking, and assessment that sustain acceleration over time.
We know all the studies say that when we get students together, working on academic issues together and building social relationships at the same time, they perform well. And that's the bottom line. We really want you to perform well.
We can do all of this and more, and in fact much of this is happening. But perhaps we can do it more comprehensively, with less allegiance to a distant past than to the always arriving future.
With directing, when the movie's finished, it should feel like it made itself.
I wouldn't know. I heard those guys made the big bucks.
Sometimes I do so much that I start dreaming and stuff.
The same thought about narration is that it should be honest.
Music is the soul of any film.